Hello everyone, welcome to Noodle Journey. Today is my last review of the Buldak products that I currently have in my stockpile. So we're going to conclude this marathon by checking out one of the import varieties that you can find relatively easily in America. Samyang's Buldak Jjamppong. Now this one is a bit interesting. While Buldak products apparently sell really well in the USA, with Samyang manufacturing quite a few varieties specifically to export here, there are still some Buldak flavors not in English packaging that aren't always shipped to your local supermarkets or Asian grocery stores, like the rosé and lovely hot flavors I just imported and reviewed. This is one of those flavors that doesn't come in the regular exports to the US. Now, I'm not saying that to scare you from trying to find this or to gloat that I have it in my hands, not at all. H Mart, one of the biggest Asian grocery chains in the US, carries this. It's on their website to order online, and I found it in my nearest store. And if H Mart imports it, other Asian grocery stores and websites will too. So you can find this in the US, I promise. And if you're lucky enough to live in an area that sells this without any import restrictions, even better. This is $11 for a 4-pack at H Mart at the time of this filming, so it's a little more expensive than the varieties specifically packaged for English-speaking territories, because this is a 4-pack and not a 5-pack like the others are. But that is still not an awful price for noodles nowadays. So with all that out of the way, what is Jjamppong? Well, the quick answer is that it's a spicy seafood soup that originated in Nagasaki, Japan by Chinese immigrants and was later adapted into other countries. There are lots of noodle manufacturers that make Jjamppong, and if you're in an English-speaking area, you'll see Jjamppong exports spelled lots of different ways phonetically on the packaging, like with a CH instead of a double J or a double B instead of a double P. Same stuff. From what I've learned though, while the Nagasaki version is a creamy, almost chowder-like soup, this Korean rendition is a red chili soup pretty similar to Nongshim's Neogori, which I reviewed back in episode 25 and loved. So this is Samyang's super spicy take on that style of red seafood soup. So yes, alongside the stew flavor, this is the only other Buldak variety that I know of right now that is a soup, not a saucy stir-fry. So let's take a look at the vitals. Sodium in here is super high at 1890 milligrams, so be warned. Most of the other ones are in the 1500 range. This is a little higher. So inside the pack, we've got my favorite style of Buldak noodles, which are the flat ones, hell yes. And then there's 3 packets, the soup base, flake packet, and a seasoning oil. And there's a lot going on in these ingredients. The soup base has the things you expect, like soy sauce, ginger, and curry powder, but also contains various meat extracts like beef, pork, chicken, and squid. The flake packet contains green onions and beef-flavored soy protein, which is really cool. And this is pretty sizable this time. No complaints about flakes today, I hope. And the oil is, I have no idea. Google Lens translated this to just say Jjamppong seasoning oil, so who knows what this is? I'm assuming it's a seafood oil. So I'll smell it before I add it and give you a thorough report. Time to cook. Okay, so here we go. One final step. We have to add this oil in. The noodles cook for 5 minutes along with the soup base and flakes. You're supposed to stir in the oil afterwards. So let's do that part now. So it's kind of got like a mild sesame aroma going on. Possibly some shellfish in there. It's hard to say for sure. It's definitely colored like a shellfish oil. And it is also all over my fingers. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. A little chili oil in there too, I think. These little chunks of soy protein look just like beef. I'm really excited to try this. The smell coming off of it right now is very, very beefy. Not a whole lot of seafood aroma. In fact, much more robustly beefy than I think the Neogori smelled. So, enough chit-chat. Let me give this a taste. Wow, this is cool. Starting with the noodles, these are the same flat variety that we've seen before in carbonara, rosé, stew flavors, a couple of the others. As always, really great texture, nice and chewy and plump. My favorite of the two Buldak noodle styles. And as with the stew type, they're holding up very well in broth. Nice and firm, not mushy or anything. 9 out of 10 for the noodles. The spice level is about what you would expect out of a Buldak product. It is pretty hot. I don't know if it's toned down ever so slightly by the recipe itself or by the fact that it's in a soup form instead of a concentrated stir-fry sauce. So it's not quite as high as the regular Buldak spice level, which you may have seen was an 8 out of 10 when I reviewed it. So the spice level on this, I think I'm going to give a 7 out of 10. It is still really spicy. But if you can handle the more potent varieties, you can handle this. Also, it is a lingering spice. It's on my lips right now, and it is staying there. And so the overall flavor of this, let me start by saying I love these little imitation beef flakes. They're awesome. I haven't really seen soy protein in this size and shape before, and they're pretty darn close to actual beef in texture and taste. They're kind of like a little tender nugget of beef. Great stuff. And they have good flavor too. There's definitely some soy going on in there. The flavor of the broth is also super good. Putting aside the spice, you've got some of the usual backbone of Buldak flavoring, meaning onion, garlic, and soy sauce. I'm not really getting the curry spices in this, like I would expect out of other Buldak products. There's a sweet seafood hit that's definitely shrimp and squid adjacent. It's not overpowering, but it adds a nice touch to what is already a delicious seasoning base. But what I'm really getting out of this is beef flavor. Like, there's no mistaking this for an artificial seasoning. This is absolutely 100% real meat extract, and it is meaty in flavor. It's great. What else? Plenty of green onions in here along with the beefy soy flakes. Unlike the stingy little flake packets and the other Buldak varieties, there is a lot of extra stuff in this, and I'm very happy about that. I love this. Spicy seafood soup isn't necessarily my go-to for comfort food, but this is an excellent product in the way it's combining both the meatiness of the broth and the delicate backbone of the seafood oil. I think on a normal day, I would give this broth and noodle combination a 9 or a 9.5 out of 10, but these beefy little soy flakes bump it up to a 10 out of 10 for me. This is a perfect score. If you're already a fan of Buldak and you also enjoy a meaty seafood broth, then this is an easy recommendation if you want to make the effort to track it down. This is a pretty different experience from your usual Buldak, between the meatiness and the nice seafood sweetness and that really impressive flake packet. If you're not a fan of spicy seafood soup, then don't bother, but I do believe the rest of you will enjoy this. And with that, it is time to stop reviewing Buldak for a little while. I've gone through every single flavor I have access to at the time of this filming. There's a couple more import flavors out there that I'll be looking for, and I feel like every month I find out about yet another new variety I haven't seen yet. I just saw one this morning that I didn't know existed. But I don't want to be typecast as the Buldak guy, and so I'll be back to the usual random assortment of reviews again for a little while, or at least until I decide to do another marathon. So I hope you enjoyed learning about Buldak as much as I did, but I can assure you my digestive tract is happy to take a break from them for now. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I hope you'll join me next time for episode 100 of Noodle Journey.